Hello, my name is Ryan Ashker. Welcome to the Sports News on CW57, your home for local high school, collegiate, and club sports. Now let's get you off the bench and into the game. A public hearing will be held next month on a plan of the city of Milwaukee to spend $47 million as part of a $250 million public financing package for a new Milwaukee Bucks arena. Mayor Tom Barrett told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel that the city plan won't be implemented without the legislators' approval of the state's larger share of that public financing package for the $500 million arena. Bipartisan opposition has stalled that state proposal, but he said it's important for the city proposal to undergo public review. The first hearing is July 2nd. Under the plan, the city would spend $35 million to develop a parking structure downtown and $12 million for a public improvement near the arena, including a plaza space. With all the jobs and revenue that the Bucks generate every year for the state of Wisconsin, I, for one, do not want to see them uprooted and taken to Seattle. It would be a tragedy for the state of Wisconsin to lose a professional sports franchise. I urge people to contact their legislators and tell them to get this deal done to see the Bucks here in Wisconsin. For more information, you can find it at saveourbucks.com. That's saveourbucks.com. Now to headlines. The Janesville Craig Cougars are on top of the baseball world after capturing the 2015 WIA State Baseball Championship in Division I, besting the Kimberly Papermakers 2-0. The win marked the second straight shutout for the Cougars, which allowed only 2 runs over 21 innings in 3 games at the state tournament. The Cougars end the season with a 29-1 record. This is Janesville Craig's 4th championship in 12 attempts. The program's last state tournament came in 1998. In Division IV, Rio has won a state championship with the team's first ever appearance in the tournament. The Vikings defeated Ithaca by a score of 1-0. Rio was led by Trajan Prokal, who pitched a 6-hit shutout over 7 innings with 2 strikeouts at the plate by Trevor Kenny, who went 3 for 3 to lead the Vikings' 5-hit attack. The only run of the game came in the 5th inning when Jacob Black delivered a 1-out single to left to score Noah Hollander from second after he drew a walk earlier in the inning. Edgewood College has announced a unique opening to the next season's basketball opener. The Eagles will be facing Bradley University, who plays at the Division I level. The exhibition will take place in Peoria, Illinois on November 3rd. Bradley plays in the Missouri Valley Conference and went 9-24 last season. This will be their first game with new head coach Brian Wardle, who fans may recognize as the former coach at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. The Madison Mallards were very well represented in the 2015 Major League Baseball first-year amateur draft. The Mallards, who are part of the Northwoods League, had 17 current and former players taken to the draft. Tate Matheny of Missouri State became the first among those players when the Boston Red Sox called his name in the 4th round. That's what we have for now. We'll be back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now it is time for the AEI Dish McFarland update, and we are joined by Coach Dave Halverson of McFarland Softball. Coach, thanks for joining us here today.
You bet. Glad to be here.
Give us a little bit of a season recap. How did McFarland do this year on the field?
Well, we had an exceptional year this year. I was very pleased. I had some great senior leadership. 3rd year in a row we won over 20 games. Our conference champs, regional champs, made it to sectionals for the 3rd year in a row. Got close to getting back to state like we did last year, but didn't quite make it. But very, very pleased with the group of kids that we had this year.
Sounds fantastic. Sounds like a great year. You mentioned some of those upperclassmen. What are you going to need to do to replace that veteran leadership on the team?
Well, we're going to just reload like we normally do. We've got a great foundation with our youth program. The kids coming up through our JV program. We graduated 6 really good seniors last year, 2 starting pitchers, a starting catcher. That was tough to replace, and we did a good job of that. And I expect to do the same thing now with the group of seniors that we're losing now. We're certainly going to miss them, but we've got a good freshman group that really stepped up this year, and I'm looking forward to another challenge of filling in those spots and keeping the tradition going.
And speaking of those freshmen that stepped up, who are some key returning players that we can look forward to watching on the diamond next year?
Well, we had 2 freshman pitchers that came up, Sophie Quell and Maya Hovland. Both threw real well for us. We just alternated them because I had 2 seniors that graduated last year that we alternated, and they just did a really nice job. Plus they could play other positions. Sophie was we moved her a lot, played shortstop a lot for us, the outfield. Maya, when she wasn't pitching, played some first base for us. And the biggest thing was just them working out the jitters and getting the job done, and they just filled in real nice, did a good job.
And you mentioned the success you've had retooling, finding young players, bringing up freshmen, people that are going to be able to play on your team. What is the youth program? What is the youth dynamic that McFarland has?
Well, I mean, we're just excited. The first thing when I took over the job in 2008 is to get our youth program rolling. You know, just new to the softball and really tried to keep things going with the young kids and get the youth program going, get them in good leagues, get them good competition. And as we're definitely seeing the results of it the last 3 years. These kids are coming up, they understand the game really well, and I'm just real pleased with the way we're just be able to just reload each year with kids that really know how to play the game, they understand the game, and they do a really, really nice job.
And being able to retool has let you guys be as successful as you've been. Coach Dave, thank you so much for coming into the Sports News today. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And welcome back. It is time for our Madison Memorial Report. This is brought to you by Nutrition Shack. Right now, I'm joined by Greg Rogers and Jake O'Loughlin of Memorial Golf. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks so much. It's great to have great to be here today.
So, give us a few highlights of last season. How did the team do? What were some things that really stood out?
We won a tournament at Lake Wisconsin Country Club, and then we won our sectional and advanced to state.
Fantastic. That's very impressive. Now, Greg, what impressed you about the team in kind of your first year as the coach?
You know, I think the first thing that stands out to me was academically. We had 5 guys who were academic all-state, so they did an excellent job in the classroom.
Wow.
Secondly, I think their openness to my coaching and just generally their goodwill and their willingness to work hard it made my job so easy, really.
Sounds like fun, at least. That's what we want to get out of it. Jake, I gotta ask, because there's a lot of hacks like me that go out there on the golf course and are just horrible. So with you being so successful as you've been in school, what is your off season like? Do you play a lot of golf in the summer and fall, or is this kind of your downtime now?
During the summer, I play in probably 6 junior tournaments, and then I'm doing the state am, state open, and a few pretty big state amateur tournaments.
Wow, good luck with that as you go forward.
Thank you.
When we're looking towards next year now with a year under your belt as a coach and a lot of guys returning, what are expectations for next year with the team?
You know, I think the thing that we did so well this year is we first and foremost, we just stayed in the present and focused on process and then always enjoying, trying to enjoy the moment as much as we possibly can. And don't get me wrong, I mean, we took things serious, but we absolutely, when we played well, we took some time to acknowledge that and enjoy it. And I think moving forward, it's really the same thing for next year.
So always growing on that. With Jake now, I gotta ask, you're going into your senior year next year, correct?
Yep.
What's been the best thing as you kind of look back about playing high school sports in your career at Memorial up to this point?
I guess it's fun to play as a team in golf, which is a very individual sport. So that's been probably the most fun, just to get to know guys who you wouldn't probably know otherwise. So
makes a lot of sense. The memories you're going to have forever.
Yeah.
Want to thank you guys very much for coming today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we were glad to be here.
Yep.
Greg Rogers and Jake O'Loughlin want to wish Jake luck in all his tournaments this summer as well. That is your Madison Memorial Report, brought to you by Nutrition Shack. We'll be back with more of the sports news in just a moment. Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we are joined by Middleton High School. We have Hannah Doctor and Bob Jordan. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So Bob, got to ask, how did the spring season end up? How did we do over at Middleton?
Oh, pretty exciting. We had 5 teams that got conference champions, girls softball, girls soccer, we had boys tennis, boys track, and lacrosse. And then we went on to state and also did very well. We had our state champion boys lacrosse team. That was a nice way to end up the season. Our boys tennis team took second at state, and boys track, they took 4th, and our girls took 2nd.
That is fantastic. Hannah, talk about that season with the girls finishing 2nd at state.
Yeah, you know, it kind of came out of nowhere, but I think the boys were really in the spotlight this season, and we kind of came up from behind, but boys finished spectacularly, but I think everything fell into place for the girls this year, which was pretty awesome.
And tell us, what events did you participate in, and what was the experience like to go to state for that?
I was in the 3 sprint relays, so that's the 400, the 800, and the 1600. And just being a part of a relay team is a lot different than being an individual event because you're not just running for yourself, you're running for 3 other girls. And I think that just proved how strong of a team Middleton is with our relays doing so well this year.
That's very impressive. Now, as you look back, if you don't mind, I'd like you to look back on your high school career, how it all went. You know, we understand, and if you could talk a little bit about it, that you had to go through an injury and battle your way back with that. So how do you look back on your career at Middleton so far?
You know, I wouldn't trade it for anything, even though I did have some injuries there, and I think that just made it that much sweeter this year, finishing the way we did.
Understandable. Now, when we look ahead, what lies in store for Middleton Athletics next season?
Well, we're going to lose a big senior class, which is always tough to say goodbye to your seniors and what they bring, but that's what we do during the summer. We try to make new ones and faster ones, so hopefully we'll get some more like Hannah.
And Middleton's been doing a very good job of that over the last couple of years, cranking out some great athletes. And you also mentioned, I just want to make sure we give a big shout out to your boys lacrosse team. You said they won the state championship.
Yeah, last Saturday down in Beloit, they had to go through 2 rain delays, got done shortly after midnight, and won the state championship.
Wow, fantastic. Just adding more hardware to that case over in Middleton. Bob, Hannah, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thanks.
Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now I'm joined by Sarah Broski, the Stoughton dance team coach. Sarah, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about the Stoughton dance team. What's all encompassed with that?
Well, it's a group of girls who are high school age, so 9th grade through 12th grade. A lot of them are studio trained, a lot of them are not. We actually come together and perform at home sporting events as well as around the community.
Fantastic. Now, how long has this team been around?
We've actually been in high school for 4 years now. We started our 5th season about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Not too long.
Not too long. Now, where does the team perform? I know you mentioned they perform at home athletic events. Is there anything else you guys go out and do?
Along with the athletic events, we compete at regional competitions in Wisconsin, and we also will go out into the community and do a lot of performances as well. Last year we performed at the BMO Harris Mini Marathon, and we actually were on the sides dancing for the people that were running in that, so that was pretty fun.
Oh, wow. Now, with those regional tournaments, is that with other schools or dance teams, or how do those work?
Yeah, it's other dance teams within Wisconsin, so we'll travel to Watertown, Kaukauna, and I think just those 2. There's a couple competitions at each location, and then we also will go to regionals, and last year we made it to state, so that was pretty fun.
Wow, fantastic, in just the 5th year. So with that, what is the typical season for dance? Because obviously athletics go year-round if you guys participate in home events. What is your season like?
We'll start off in the summer, about the beginning of June. During the summer, we'll just run some practices, get ready for the year. We'll attend a camp during the summer, and then in the fall, we'll get into football season, perform at those games, then we'll get into our own competitions, and then go through the basketball season. So once the basketball team is done, then we're done.
And we've learned with a lot of our guests from Stoughton that all of their athletes are very involved in the community and doing great things in the Stoughton area. What are some of the things you and the dance team do to support Stoughton?
So along with doing the marathon in Madison, we actually volunteered during the Set in My Run in May. We'll go to some of the senior homes in Stoughton, and we actually visit the elementary schools during homecoming and kind of dance with them and get to know the younger kids.
Very exciting stuff. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for joining us here on the Sports News today.
Thank you.
Sarah Broski of the Stoughton Dance Team. We'll be right back with more of the Sports News in just a moment. And welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we have a very interesting guest joining us from Isthmus Bubble Soccer. It is Christy Lowe. Christy, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks, happy to be here.
So what is bubble soccer?
Yeah, so I describe it as a mix between hockey and soccer and a little bit of sumo wrestling. So we have our players play soccer wearing giant inflatable bubble suits.
Interesting stuff. So how is this something that myself or our viewers at home could get involved with?
So there's a couple options. So we do private events, which are things, we have a lot of companies that do corporate bonding, birthday parties, that type of thing. We do a lot of fundraisers, youth event activities, and then we also have leagues that we run at Kiva Sports in Middleton. Our first one's starting up July 12th, and it's a 6-week season. It goes to August 16th.
Fantastic. Now you mentioned there's private events for things like this. What sort of companies or what other kind of events can people do? I know it's not just corporations. Is this something people can do for birthday parties or other sort of events?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've had birthday parties, corporate bonding activities. They do just kind of, I think people like to have the opportunity to hit their coworkers and not get in trouble for it. We do a lot of fundraising, had some sports teams get together, a lot of church youth activities. It's a great event for high school kids too. They seem to really like it.
I could imagine. And seeing I have coworkers running the cameras today, I definitely would not want to knock them down. They do a great job here on the Sports News. How did you get involved with the sport yourself?
Yeah, so maybe a year and a half ago, I saw a video of people playing. The funnest part is how we have teams start on opposite sides of the field and they just run at each other in the middle and hit each other and bounce all over. And I thought it looked like a ton of fun. So I looked into it, wanted to purchase the balls for myself just to play with friends in the backyard. They were a little more expensive than I wanted them to be, so I turned it into a business.
Fantastic. And I would imagine doing something like this, you can't really have a bad day at the office. It seems like a pretty interesting job to have to run a company like this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of fun. Everybody there is just there to have a good time, play sports, bounce around. Yeah, never a bad day.
And can you let us know one more time where some of your events are held and how people can get involved or learn some more?
Yeah, so you can go to our website at isthmusbubblesoccer.com. We have all of our information there. We also play over at Kiva Sports in Middleton. We do our leagues there for the summer.
I think this is something we need to do. Have a lot of the guests from the Sports News. We're going to come out there and play some bubble soccer. Sounds like a great idea. Christy, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Hello and welcome back to the Sports News. Right now we are joined by Eric Elsey of the Dodge County Speedway Association. Eric, thanks for joining us here today.
Thanks for having me, Ryan.
And it's been a great start to the season so far, in my opinion. Give us an update. How is the track going this year?
The track is going well. Mother Nature kind of beat us on our opener. We had to reschedule some things for the opener, and along with that, alumni night and a few other things. But racing's been good. The crowds have been good. Lots of drivers, and we're still ready to give it our all yet this season.
And that's the important part. Now, with that, it's not necessarily a really long season, but it's a very eventful one. What are some of the upcoming events going on at the track?
A lot of the events that are coming up besides the actual racing are we're having mechanics races, powder puff, which includes the ladies out on the racetrack. We try to do a little bit of everything for everyone that comes out there, whether it be the fans, the kids, the drivers, pit crew. We try to get everyone involved.
Now, for some of our viewers that might not have been out there yet, and I strongly recommend you guys go, give us some information about the track. What kind of track is it? What are they going to see when they come out to the Speedway?
It's a half-mile clay oval. There's 3 half miles in the state of Wisconsin, 2 of which currently run a regular scheduled program. You'll see everything from what we call modifieds to street stocks. We have a Grand National class, which is just a little bit above the street stocks, and then something new for us this year, dirt late models.
Fantastic. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of great local racers out there as well. Now, with the races, where are they located at, and how can people come out and watch?
It's actually not too bad of a drive from Madison. You take 151 north, and then you get off on the Highway 33 exit at Beaver Dam, and you would take a right or go east on Highway 33 about 3 miles from Beaver Dam, and then you would hang a right on Fabish Road, and then a left into the entrance of the Dodge County Fairgrounds facility.
And if you go too far, you're going to go right past the track, so you'll notice it right away and be able to turn around. Now, to get into the track, what does it cost to come out for a night?
We try to keep it family affordable as much as possible. Adults are $10, kids 12 and under are free, and then we have a student rate for kids ages 13 to 15 are just $5.
And it's a whole lot of fun. I strongly encourage all of you, if you haven't been out at the track, to head up to the Dodge County Fairgrounds Speedway and check it out on a Sunday night. I'm up there announcing every weekend. It's a lot of fun, and Eric and the rest of the folks put on a great show for the spectators. Eric, thank you for joining us here on the Sports News today.
All right, thanks, Ryan.
Want to thank you for tuning into the Sports News this week, as well as all of our guests for stopping by and giving us some great interviews and letting you guys know what's going on with sports here in our local community. It's the Sports News right here on CW57, brought to you in part by the Red Zone, getting you in the game.